Everybody, thanks for joining us today. It looks like we're still waiting for some folks to join, so we'll give it one more minute and then we will get started. All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Thanks again to everyone who's able to join us today. We appreciate you taking the time out of what we know is a busy schedule after you get back from the holidays. Today, we're going to go through all things co-op for 2025. A lot of you I've had a chance to meet in the past. For those who I don't know and haven't met me yet, I'm Kaya Watkins, and I lead dealer marketing here at AGCO Direct.
And I'm Alicia Hawkins. I oversee the brand and communications and dealer marketing for North America Parts.
And I'm Zach Rodemaker, Senior Manager for brand and dealer marketing, taking over for a lot of what Katie Town was doing previously.
And then, although I didn't make the Meet Your Presenter slide, my name is Joe Wharton. I'm the Director of Marketing for Massey Ferguson. Hopefully, I've had an opportunity to meet most of you on the call, and for those that I haven't had an opportunity to meet, I look forward to doing so. Hopefully, this time, sometime this year or in the near future. We can go ahead and advance the slide, guys. So I really appreciate everybody taking the time out of their day to join us. There's not a tremendous amount of co-op program updates or changes from 24 to 25. But the ones that are changed and updated and some of the guidelines, we're going to spend the better part of the next hour talking about those. But I wanted to start off a little bit at a high level, talking about, some of AGCO's major objectives in 2025 and how that relates to some, if not the largest change you'll see from a co-op perspective. And so, when it comes to looking at 2025, facing some of the industry headwinds we faced in 24, we'll continue on into 2025 with some declining large ag industry, with a relatively flat rural lifestyle industry. But one fact kind of remains, and that's that we have a lot of inventory on the ground today. And one of AGCO's major objectives, if not the most important objective of 2025, is ensuring that we are hyper focused on dealer health. Making sure we create an environment for your dealership to be profitable and flourish in the year of 2025. And so one of the ways we plan to do that is by having our retail sales to customers, or your retail sales to customers, be at a much higher volume than the units that we are going to bill out and deliver to your dealership. The goal here being to reduce your inventory position to a more manageable level so that you can maintain health and profitability. But we do this by producing less at our factories and delivering less than you guys are retailing to your customers, meaning that although we're planning for a banner year from a retail perspective and a market share perspective in 2025, AGCO's billings and revenue numbers are actually going to be lower in 2025 than we would like to see. Because of this, we have to find a way to manage our expenses, making sure they align with that reduced revenue. So how does all this relate to co-op in this meeting that we're having? It means, quite frankly, that co-op and marketing budgets are going to be less in 2025 than they were in 2024. Collectively, what Kaya and Zach and Jordan and the rest of the team are going to talk about is we want to work together to find the right marketing tactics and spend level that give you the biggest return on that investment, because the fact that our total co-op fund pool is going to be reduced. So guys, I know that's a bit of a jarring way to start a meeting, but I wanted to be open and transparent about what's going on and why. In the coming weeks, next Friday, in fact, we're going to be sending out individual emails to those of you on the call and those of you that aren't on the call with the latest earn rates, updated 2025 co-op guidelines, as well as you'll see your 2025 funds loaded to the sales portal in that same time frame. And so, guys, although it'll be a challenging year from a co-op and a marketing perspective, I'm quite confident that working closely together as partners, we can find a way to make sure that we have all of our customers understanding our marketing value propositions that we're putting out there this year. So with that, I'll transfer back over to Zach as he gives you some other reminders and updates.
Thanks, Joe. And I apologize to everyone. I've been kind of under the weather this week, so if I start coughing or losing it, that's I apologize. So I'm going to start here with some key reminders for the co-op program. As you can see here, our Heston Marketing Services audit team. We've got all the names of the people that you work with here, as well as the contact information. Hopefully, most people know who to contact, but anyone that you see here on this slide or anyone on this call can help you with any co-op related questions that you have. So, we get questions like, why am I getting more questions and ask for proof? Well, are you worried about a claim being denied? We always recommend getting pre-approval first. And so to dive into that, we ask that you please review the guidelines and keep them handy. So the guidelines, as we said, they'll be sent out in the coming weeks. We'll have some printed and shipped to your dealer locations the first week of February, as well as the PDF version available in both English and French Canadian at that same time. So you'll see those new guidelines come out. And as Joe said, there's not a lot that's changed within those actual guidelines, but we'll kind of touch on a little bit of that as we go here today. So, and again, as Joe mentioned, the whole goods and the parts funds will be loaded and available for use after next Friday. So moving on to the next slide here. So as always, AGCO's partner and preference is for you to use AGCO Direct. However, you're not required to use AGCO Direct, as you well know, outside of paid digital media. So if you work with AGCO Direct, you get a 60/40 reimbursement rate. If not, it's at the 50/50 rate. You cannot place your own media and tell your vendor to bill AGCO Direct. The media must be placed through your AGCO Direct rep, and then any invoices received will be returned to you if not. So one slight change that we did make with the changes to the reduced earned rates is that we've changed the utilization gates slightly. So still twice a year, still the same time frame, June 1st and October 1st. But the first utilization gate in June has been reduced to if you use less than 10%, you will forfeit 100% of your remaining balance. If you only use up to 25%, you will forfeit 50%. And then in October, a little bit of a reduction there as well. 0 to 25% will forfeit your remaining balance. 25 to 50% will forfeit 50% of your remaining balance. So because the co-op has been reduced a little bit, we want to ensure that you're utilizing what all we do give you. We've kind of reduced those percentages a little bit to try to help allow you to utilize the co-op throughout the entire year. Again, totem signage and uniforms are a cost of doing business, not eligible for co-op. Non-AGCO equipment is not allowed in your marketing. Obviously, if you're using the co-op funds, we hope that you're only marketing towards the AGCO related machines and AGCO parts. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and submit for pre-approval first. It's always best to get pre-approval if you're worried about an ad not getting, or you're worried about an ad getting denied. And then another thing that we've kind of added to the guidelines this year is a little bit more about our published brand guidelines and how those should be followed, or else your claim may be denied as well. So a few things to note. Logos cannot be used within headlines. Logos must be large enough to be legible, and logos should have the required white space around. We've indicated this here, and you'll see that as well on the updated co-op guidelines. A few more key reminders here. So the paid social advertising is eligible if you provide metrics to our team. OTT, CTV is also eligible, but other digital marketing, including paid search and paid display, is only available through AGCO Direct. So like I mentioned earlier, if you're working on digital, that has to be handled through AGCO Direct, but we allow other paid social advertising outside of that. So newsletters is a big topic as well. So max claim amount of $5,000 per year for newsletters, and those creative costs are not included in that number. So customer list and proof of postage paid mailing must be provided. Again, get pre-approval with your newsletters. Send us as much information as possible if you're worried about a denied claim there. And then merchant promotional giveaways, these have changed within the last couple of years, holding steady to what we went with last year. So we only allow promotional giveaways through Halo or ID Apparel, our two approved resources. Reimbursement rate for merchant promotional items is at 20% for whole goods or parts claims. And that does not count towards the 30% requirement for parts terms and conditions. So giveaways to employees are not co-op eligible, and the AGCO Parts logo must be used if you're going to leverage your parts funds. And then just a little note here on the Fendt side, so the Diesel Ross or the Diesel Ross Schlepper logo must be in conjunction with Fendt, but not in a lockup or side-by-side. So example, put it on the chest, one of them on the chest, one of them on the arm, something like that. But those are some of the kind of key reminders. And now I will pass it off to Alicia.
Thank you, Zach. Just a friendly reminder for our parts terms and conditions. So dealers must utilize at least 30% of your annual co-op budget per year. Here you will see those eligible AGCO after sales brands, the different programs that are eligible, as well as the different media types. So as Zach had mentioned, merch and promotional items do not go towards your 30% co-op utilization. If you have any questions regarding this, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I will now pass it off to Kaya.
Thank you, Alicia. All right, now we'll go into just some, I think, tips and tricks, best practices, things that we get a lot of questions about for co-op, and go through some of these updates. So first of all, used equipment templates. This is specific for like Tractor House, Fastline, Marketbook, Ag Dealer, those publications. First, you are required to use a pre-approved template. So we've put up some examples of what those look like. Really, we need to make sure you're promoting either new equipment or AGCO parts in that header. And then the lower part, the bottom, is for your dealership promotion. And then the listings go in between that. And the header does have to be a certain size, and that's where using the templates or having AGCO Direct create a template for you and customize it for you just ensures that you're meeting the requirement for the space allotments on the used equipment listing versus the promotion for new equipment or AGCO parts on the top. This is still restricted to 10% of whole goods or your parts funds. You can use 10% of your total fund in each area. And when you submit the claim, just a reminder to make sure you select use for the claim type, and then media type, make sure you're selecting Tractor House Fastline, just to make sure we've got that captured appropriately. And then again, we can customize that at AGCO Direct, so we can get your logo on there or feature the equipment you want from a new equipment or after sales promotions perspective. So just reach out to your AGCO Direct rep on that, and they can get that going for you. To get to the co-op portal, nothing has changed here, and I know many of you know exactly how to do this, but there are some newer folks on, so we'll just run through this briefly. The AGCO, My AGCO portal, under marketing, then marketing tools, you'll see co-op advertising in the navigation. There's also quick links on the right-hand side where you can click right on requests, claims, or funds and be taken directly to that area of the co-op portal. So that's probably the easiest way to get there, is just clicking on those quick links. Another question we get a lot is when the dealer goes in, they can't see their claims or they can't see their funds. And often that is tied to the view that you're looking at. So the default view when you first log in is going to say recently viewed. And if you haven't been in a while or looked at anything recently, that's going to be empty. So easiest thing is just click on that arrow and choose the all option. Whether you're looking at your claims or approvals, requests, any of that, just make sure you've got all selected, and that's going to show everything all time. And then you can actually just pin that, hit that little pin right next to it. That ensures when you log in the future, everything's going to show up for you right away. Can also change your view. So if we look at this slide, you can see it's more in a table view. Some people prefer the Kanban view, and that is what we're seeing here. If you like this view instead, it's a little bit more visual. You can just choose that over on the right-hand side. You can flip between table or Kanban. To view your funds, when you go into your fund, you're going to see a few things. Right away, you're going to see what year it is, if it's whole goods or parts. Your balance is on the bottom, and it'll show you how much you have remaining. If there's anything pending, what that means is your claim has been submitted for approval, and the audit team has not yet approved it. So it could mean it's in the queue to be reviewed, or they might be waiting for more information. But as you look at what co-op you have remaining, make sure you factor in the pending transactions and really look at that pending balance as you plan out your budget. And then on the right-hand side, on the bottom, you can see the used to print or used prints available and the used print transactions. If you are using co-op for Tractor House, Market Book, any of those, that is where you're going to see how much you have left to spend to hit that 10%. To create a new claim, when you log in and get to the co-op portal, just navigate to claims and then click on new. It's up in the top right. And then really just go through the process, fill everything out. On that first page, it's just high-level information about the activity and confirming information about the dealership. Then you're going to want to hit save, make sure that's all captured. And then the next part you have to do, and this is a very important part that sometimes gets missed, is clicking on the related tab. And this is where you update your or add the reference files that are needed for many of your claims. So a copy of the ad that ran or the radio script, and then a copy of your invoice. All of those requirements are laid out in the co-op guide. There's tables within the co-op guide that you'll see that say really specifically what is included and what's eligible for each item, and then what you need to submit with the claim in order for it to be approved. So for a print ad, for example, you have to upload a copy of the print ad and then a copy of the invoice. If it's a direct mailer, you got to upload a copy of the list and your invoice and your printing costs, just some of those things to verify the eligibility. To complete your claim then, once you've uploaded your files, just hit done once those are uploaded, and then you're brought back to the main screen. And then the last step is you do have to submit for approval. So just uploading the files isn't enough. You do have to go in and hit submit for approval. That's going to be up in the top right. Couple things on used equipment here. We talked about it earlier, but just making sure that your used equipment or your equipment type is used. And then for media type, you're choosing that Tractor House Fastline Market Book option. The other thing is the co-op auditing team uses Chatter within the co-op portal to communicate back and forth with you. So it's the easiest way to connect with them and get quick responses. In order to use it, you just tag them. So if you want to talk to Rhonda, is one that many of you will work with, you just tag her and then put in your question. If you forget to tag her, she's not going to get notified and see that you have a question. And they're really quick to respond, so keep an eye out for that. What they have run into a lot over the last year is not getting responses back in a timely manner. So now in 2025, one ask is if you guys can just be a little bit more diligent and responsive when there are questions. You're doing it to try to get your claim approved more quickly. So if you don't respond within a week, what they'll do is move the claim into a corrections needed status. That then is going to send you an email notification saying, hey, this claim is missing this, this, and this. If after 30 days you still haven't responded, then it'll actually just move the claim into rejected, and you'll have to go in and resubmit the claim. So just keep an eye out. They tag you in their responses back, so you should be getting notifications on that. If you're not, just feel free to reach out to them in the inbox and ask them questions or ask for updates there. Couple of tips. The most common error when a dealer is trying to submit a claim that they get back is no applicable approval process was found. So you put everything in, you fill out all the fields, you hit submit for approval, and you get this error. It's almost always one of two things. So either you don't have enough money left, or there's missing documentation. So with the co-op funds, what you'll run into a lot now, especially at this time of the year, either you're out of funds or the end date is for the wrong year. So now we're in kind of that tricky time where you're still submitting 2024 claims because you're getting those invoices in, but pretty soon after those funds are loaded, you're also going to have 2025 claims that you're going to submit. So it's really important that the end date matches the fund that it needs to come out of. So for example, right now, if you submit a claim and your end date is in 2025, those funds haven't been loaded yet. So those funds don't exist, meaning you don't have enough money to cover a 2025 fund yet. So if you're getting an issue or a error of that, it's likely check your dates and make sure you have enough funds. The other thing is just making sure you've got the required documentation. There has to be at least one file under that related tab. Everything that is eligible and requires a claim, everything has to have at least one file associated. And then if you aren't hearing back or waiting on a claim and you feel like it's been a long time, there's a chance you maybe didn't hit submit for approval. If you don't hit submit for approval, your claim is going to sit in that open status. And that means it hasn't been submitted to anyone to look at. So just make sure you're looking and hitting that submit for approval. The audit team does try to go in and look to see if something's sitting in open for a long time, and they'll circle back with you and say, hey, did you mean to submit this? Maybe, and then they'll help you through that. But just keep an eye on that and it'll make it a little easier for everyone. Another thing, we talked about this last year too, but we're really working to improve our email marketing list to communicate with all of the marketing contacts at dealerships. And the best way to do that is to make sure that your role is current and updated in the One AGCO portal. So to do that, your portal admin actually will need to go into One AGCO, and then under management, they can go into the designated contacts and then either review who they have in there or add that marketing professional and make sure that you're showing up there. And that's how you're going to get dedicated emails from AGCO and from AGCO Direct and get the right content in those Monday Engage emails. So if you can just take time over the next few weeks, make sure that that is accurate. It'll really help ensure that you're getting the right information in a timely manner. And then as Joe mentioned earlier, with the co-op budgets, we want to make sure that you have the right tools and resources to make sure that that money is working really hard for you. So a few resources to tap into. The AGCO Direct marketing portal has a ton of content for you. These are assets that are created and provided by the brand teams. So that's your photos and videos, toolkits, lots of different templates, the brochures and literature that you can order using your DMN points, POP, all of that is available for you on that portal. Similarly, on the Parts eStore, which you access through the AGCO Direct marketing portal as well. Similar, Alicia and her team build out a lot of content throughout the year. So you've got templates, things that are in the AMP program. If you missed the cutoff for AMP or chose not to participate, you can still leverage those assets. They're all on the eStore as the year moves forward. Catalogs, quick reference guides, photos, videos, POP, vehicle graphics, all of that's again available for you on the eStore. And then finally, the AGCO Direct team, of course, is always a great resource for you. You don't have to work with us by any means, even if you just want to bounce ideas off us or get feedback or high-level recommendations. We're happy to have that discussion with you free of charge, of course. And we can help make sure that the budget you do have is going to be effective and drive results for you. We do full custom media plans and execution with digital and traditional marketing. And if you want to just use us for a one-off project or get a tractor house templates or send out a direct mailer for an event, we can certainly help with any of that as well. And again, as Zach mentioned, anything through AGCO Direct is eligible for 60% reimbursement. The other thing I wanted to make a quick announcement on is there is a new dealer website program available through AGCO Direct that uses global content. So as products are rolled out or specs are updated or new photos become available, offers come out every month, all of that is managed at a centralized location. So your website gets updated instantly. So you can feel really confident that you're going to have the most current and accurate content for Fendt, Massey, and after sales that's available. We've also improved the UX, really focusing on conversions. We want to make sure that if someone is being driven to your website, if they're visiting it through an ad or they Googled you, we want to be able to connect them with you or capture their information as seamlessly as possible. We've also revised our pricing structure. So we've got flexible add-ons and transparent pricing. We've built out a design library to make it really easy for you to see what your site could look like and pick and choose different options using the visual library. And then again, this is co-op eligible if it's through AGCO Direct. So the pricing on this, we have two different payment options and two different levels available. So we have a basic website option, and then we do have a preferred. Most dealers that are going with these websites are going with preferred. But if you have limited budget and maybe you don't have a website today, or you're just really outdated and you just need something up there, the basic is a good option for you. You can see everything that's included, and I won't go into all the details with that. If you're interested in learning more, of course, reach out to your AGCO Direct rep. But I do want to just highlight a few things. One, everything we do, we design for mobile first. So when we look at site traffic to all the dealer sites we manage, it's primarily coming from the mobile phone, which makes a ton of sense when you think about a farmer and how he spends his day. He's not sitting at his computer very long. He's usually out in the field. So mobile first design. And then we have series pages. So we've got a lot of detailed specs, all of that built out on that preferred site. And then we've also worked really closely with the AGCO technology team and built out technology pages so that we can lean into a lot of that. Again, there's a bigger focus on precision technology, and we've been able to incorporate that. We've got a careers page, all of that information. From a pricing perspective, you can choose to either do a lump sum payment and just pay for it all at once, or you can do more of a monthly subscription. So looking at that, basic website would be $2,400 if you do the lump sum payment after co-op, or it would be $150 a month after co-op. So you would just pay $150 a month as long as you want the website. Similarly, with preferred, it would be $6,200 after co-op, or you could do $270 a month. We are running a special offer, again, knowing that budgets are going to be a little tighter. We want to help some of these dealers out who maybe need a website, but it's going to be a little bit harder to prioritize in budgets this year. So looking at Q1, anyone who wants to get a new website, looking at this, we'll do 25% off if you place that order with the AGCO Direct team in Q1. And then dealers who have a site with us already, on the older platform, you can also upgrade to the new platform at a 40% discount in Q1. So feel free to reach out to anyone on the team here, or if you don't know who your rep is, you can contact ads@agcodirect.com or give us a call and we'll help you out. And I will note, these are USD in these websites. So we can get that if you want a specific Canadian estimate, we'll go ahead and get that over to you. Just reach out to Caitlin, and I think she's probably working with all you guys. So reach out to Caitlin or anyone on the team here, and we'll get that over for you in Canadian. And one last reminder, we're seeing more and more engagement with dealer websites on the North America brands, but just a reminder, if you're not yet, go ahead and follow the North America brand pages on social media from your dealer page. That way, you're able to share content easily, and then also the brand pages are able to share your content. You might have a customer spotlight, or we do a dealer spotlight, and it's really nice to be able to share content back and forth. And the easiest way to do that is by following each other on those social pages. With that, we will move it into questions. Jordan, do we have any questions out there yet?
Yeah, we have a few here in the chat. The first one here, who should we be reaching out to if we have questions on if something is co-op eligible?
Your best bet there is to reach out to the co-op auditing team, and their contact information will be in the co-op guide. Otherwise, it is, we'll get it in the chat for you. I'll just type it into there now in a second so that you know. But that co-op auditing team will have all of that information for you.
Next question here. What if we have multiple non-AGCO lines in regards to the website?
Great question. We get those added. So we know there's a lot of dealers who have non-AGCO brands that they do carry, and we've built, and most of the sites we build actually do include some non-AGCO equipment. Those pages, as we have them on, aren't co-op eligible. That's the only difference. And we just prorate it. So we look at the overall site, and then we look at how many pages aren't AGCO, and then get you a price per page on that.
Is there a limit for used equipment, Tractor House Market Book, for using co-op?
Yes, so that is where that 10% limit comes into play. So the way that works is, let's say you earn $10,000 in parts co-op funds. 1,000 of that $10,000 can be used towards Tractor House. So 1,000 is 10%. That is what you're able to use. And then let's say you earn 20,000 on whole goods. You could use $2,000 of your whole goods funds on Tractor House. So in total, when you look between the two funds, you've earned $30,000. You could in turn use 3,000 overall for Tractor House.
Sweet. Are hotel costs eligible for co-op for shows and events?
They're not. Lodging and hotels are not eligible for co-op. And that is in the guide too. The co-op guide, you'll see when that goes out in the back, there's some FAQs and some tips. And we do talk quite a bit about events and lodging and what's included in some of those events and trip type of things.
Sweet. We had a
And then
couple.
one of the questions that was in the chat, I'm going to paraphrase it, and I wanted to address it if that's okay. I didn't mean to interrupt, but the paraphrasing of the question was, guys, how are we supposed to compete with some of our competition, knowing that they may have more co-op dollars than us in 2025 with some of the reduced rates? And it's probably on everybody's mind, and so I wanted to address it really quickly. And because I think the best way for us to compete in 2025 under the realities that I described at the very beginning of the call are to make sure we're really working closely with our AGCO Direct team to make sure we're optimizing the spend that we do have. It's an unfortunate reality and hopefully a moment in time where we're going to have these reduced rates, and our goal is to return back to higher and higher levels of spend. But the reality of us not being able to build and invoice equipment this year requires us to kind of take this step back. So I fully acknowledge the fact that this is painful for you and for us and for everybody, and will make it hard to compete. But kind of my ask would be, please work closely with your marketing team and the AGCO Direct team and the Massey Ferguson and Fendt team. Make sure we're optimizing those, spending the dollars we do have in the right areas, on the highest areas of return. And hopefully this moment passes quickly. And as we head into 2026, we've got some better news to share with you. So thanks.
And Joe, just to answer another question that was in here too, talking about how much that was going to be cut. It's definitely closer to 75% of what you're seeing last year than 50. We tried to cut it as little as possible. We tried to reduce the earn rates as little as possible to still align with the business and the business goals. So we tried to take that down as little as possible to help you guys out.
And then, guys, again, continue to work with AGCO Direct and the AGCO marketing organization. As in years past, if and when the well runs dry, continue working with us. We'll do everything we can to support your efforts. It's going to be limited, our ability to do things like that, but we want to hear from you. We want to understand, and we'll prioritize what we can.
Jordan, did we have any other questions?
A couple asked for examples of websites that we've done previously, and we will send those out to anyone who's interested in seeing some examples. We'll have your AGCO Direct account manager send those over to you.
I see one question here that we can knock out quick is, what's the expected response time once contacting AGCO Direct? We really strive to respond same day or at the very least within 24 hours. Sometimes we miss that goal, but that is the expectation that we set here. So you should hear pretty quickly, but you can always reach out to myself too if you run into any issues. All right, I think we are good to go. If we missed your question, it looks like there's a couple that just asked to be followed up with after, so we will do that. And if you have questions that you think of later, feel free to reach out to any of us, your AGCO Direct rep, or if it's more co-op specific, the co-op auditing team. Thanks again for your time today. Appreciate everything, and we're looking forward to a successful 2025 for everyone.
Thank you, everyone.